No.
I can't hear you.
I can move it up from over here.
I'll look for it.
Do we not have the clicker? Is that what you're saying?
He's looking for it. I'll know where it's at.
Okay, forward it, please.
Right here.
Oh, ready? Thank you.
We got some rookies here now.
It's not working. So you'll have to do it.
Yes.
All right.
Say when.
When? Shabbat Shalom. Chag Sameach. Can we come sit down and focus, please? Let's not worry about that right now.
You guys ready for your tzion?
Turn it on.
Start again.
Guys, let's come sit down and focus, please.
Translator, dude.
Yeah.
And turn your phones off. We don't want to hear them ringing during service.
Hey, watch this. Watch this. If you don't mind, could you turn your phones off, please?
Yeah, there you go. Oh, you're better than me.
You're usually better.
I don't know. I wouldn't identify it as a German.
Say Chag. Chag. Sameach.
Sameach.
Means happy festival. So the Torah portion for Pesach, I have a kind of a short teaching. It's very strange. It's a strange teaching. The Torah portion is in Exodus 12. So go to Exodus 12. 35 through 36 is what we're going to be looking at in the Torah portion for Pesach. Now the sons of Israel had done according to the word of Moshe. They had requested or asked from the Egyptians articles of silver and articles of gold and clothing. And the Lord had given the people grace. That's what it says in Hebrew, chen, grace, in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they let them have their request. Thus they plundered the Egyptians. This is a very common, famous statement in Bible-believing people, Christians and Jews, that the Jews plundered the Egyptians. Big phrase, big famous phrase. The Jews plundered the Egyptians. Not what it says at all. They've completely flopped the meaning. The translators completely flopped the meaning. So we're going to look at this word that is translated despoil. It's natzal. Say natzal. Natzal. It's up on the screen. Next slide. So what I've done is I've gone through a bunch of scriptures in the Jacinius that have this word natzal, so we can see what it really means. So we're just going to go through all these verses and see what it says and just gather our facts, see what it says. Now here's why I'm teaching this. I'm teaching this because most of you are Gentile. That's why I'm teaching this.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This is a teaching for you. You know, Passover is big Jew day, big Jewish day. Jew this, Jew that. But it's supposed to be a day when the Jews and the Gentiles become one nation. This is where the concept of one new man came from. Pesach. It didn't start at Shavuot, it started at Pesach. So that's why I'm teaching it. And you can see it real clearly if we go through this word natzal. So Genesis 32:12. For you said, I will surely prosper you, and make your seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. That can't be it. Oh, it's 11, verse 11. Deliver me, I pray. Now this is the word natzal. Deliver me. If it means despoil, that's how we have to read it. Despoil me, O God. Despoil me. Destroy me from the hand of my brother. Makes no sense. So it's translated here, deliver. Deliver me, I pray, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him. So, makes sense that it means to deliver or to save. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Chapter 37, Genesis 37, verse 21. Reuben heard, this is about Joseph. Joseph has been thrown in the pit by his brothers, and Reuben hears about it. Reuben heard this and rescued him out of their hands. Natzaled him. Rescued. Pulled out. Plucked out. Plucked him out of their hands and said, let's not kill him. Let's not take his life. So, if it's despoil, Reuben heard about it and plundered him out of their hands. Makes no sense. Yes?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? No? Yes? Makes sense that it doesn't make sense. Good.
Right.
Psalm chapter 7. Verse 3. O Lord my God, I have done this. It's verse 2. It's talking about verse 1. O Lord my God, in you I have taken refuge. Save me from all those who pursue me and deliver me. That's the word natzal. Deliver me. Pluck me out. Lest he tear my soul like a lion, dragging me away while there's none to deliver. So, again, if it means despoil, it makes no sense. So it's got to mean deliver, pluck out, save, something like that. Yes?
So that gives me the idea that this gold and silver was really belonging to the Israelites and God and shouldn't have been in the possession of the Mizraim to begin with.
All right.
It was rescued.
You know the story, Doug.
Psalm 18:49.
Salmos, estaba diciendo porque
Therefore I will give, verse 48. He delivers me from my enemies. Surely you lift me above those who rise up against me, and you rescue me from the violent man. You pluck me out. You save me from the violent man. You natzal me.
You want a microphone?
No, Doug said
I don't really think he needs it. We can hear him in the room.
You natzal me. Although my voice is getting a little rough.
Is it?
Que lo rescató, natzal, está usado en este.
Psalm 34:5.
Salmos 30.
Say again? Sure.
34.
Psalm 34:5. They looked to him and were radiant. You know, I've got every single verse is wrong. You know why? Because it's in a Jewish Bible.
Oh, yeah. One
I'm
off.
looking at the Jewish Bible, not in the Christian Bible. 34, say 4. I sought the Lord and he answered me and natzal, delivered me from all my fears. They looked to him and were radiant, and their faces were never ashamed. So, same concept, to pluck out, to save, to redeem, to snatch out. That's really the best translation, to snatch out. Psalm 50. Thank you. Psalm 50, verse 22. Now consider this, you who forget God, lest I tear you in pieces and there be none to natzal you, none to deliver, none to pluck you out. He who offers a sacrifice of thanksgiving honors me. So far, every single verse could not be translated plunder, could it?
Really?
Could it?
No, because plunder has the idea of stealing it.
Yeah, plunder is like taking something from somebody and turning over their house like a thief, go in and turn everything out.
Yeah, I think of pirates.
Like pirates, yes, like the pirates who plunder. Yes. So it obviously cannot mean that.
Obviamente no puede ser
Isaiah 5,
lo opuesto a la salvación. Existe traducido
verse 29.
Sea 5:29.
I gotta tell you, I feel much more comfortable with that microphone because I feel like I'm yelling.
Oh.
529.
Put it on your head anyway and see what happens.
It's roaring, verse 28. Its arrows are sharp, and all of its bows are bent. The hooves of its horses seem like flint, and its chariot wheels like a whirlwind. Its roaring is like a lioness, and it roars like a young lion. It growls, and it seizes the prey, and it carries it off with nobody to natzal, nobody to snatch it out of the mouth of this lion. So the lion comes, it's talking about Assyria. The lion comes, it grabs his sheep, and there's nobody to save the sheep from the lion's mouth. There's nobody to pluck it out, to snatch it out from the lion's mouth. Micah chapter 5. This is also about the Assyrians. Micah 5:5. And this one shall be our peace. When the Assyrian invades our land, when he tramples on our citadels, then we will raise up against him 7 shepherds and 8 leaders of men, and they will shepherd or waste, could be translated either way, the land of Assyria with the sword, the land of Nimrod at its entrances. And he will not solve from the Assyrian. He will deliver, he will save, he will snatch out from the Assyrian. He will snatch us out from the Assyrian's mouth. So far, it could only mean to be plucked out or snatched out. It could mean nothing else. 2 Chronicles chapter 20, verse 25.
Yirmiyahu and Amos.
Le agregan o le quitan un versículo pasado a lo que está.
Oh, I see. The second one.
Yeah.
To be plucked out. I'm sorry. Isaiah 20, verse 6.
Isaías
Thank you.
26.
Isaiah 20,
Cinco,
verse 6.
cinco. Probably 5. No. Acuérdese, le agregan o le quitan.
Yeah, this is like,
Está usando los versículos de una
it could only be
Biblia.
translated plucked out. It could only mean to be
Ahorita
plucked
está
out.
en Isaías 26, pero tienes
20
que
verse 6.
agregarle o quitarle.
So the
para que
inhabitants
el versículo-
of this coast land will say in that day,
Sí,
Behold,
conoces
such is our
el
hope.
problema, ¿verdad?
where we fled for help to be not solved,
Otra vez
To be
encuentra la
plucked out.
palabra natzal, de jalar, de rescatar.
from the king of Assyria. And we, how shall we escape?
Como
Again, about Assyria coming,
otra vez
And
los
who's gonna
sirios
pluck us
que
out
nos
from
va a
Assyria?
natzal,
Right.
que nos
Assyria's
va a
mouth.
arrebatar.
Jeremiah 7,
Jeremías 7,
verse 10.
me imagino que el versículo
Then come and stand before me in this house, which is called by my name, and say, We are delivered, we are not solved,
Por mi nombre, somos natzal.
that you may do all these abominations. Has this house, which is called by my name, become a den of robbers? So this is a bad thing. He's saying, go ahead, do your Jewish stuff, say you believe in me, then go into the temple and commit sin, and see who delivers you. While you say, we will be not solved, we will be plucked
Vamos a
out.
ser rescatados por Jehová.
Amos chapter 3.
Negativo. Amos 3.
Verse 12. Thus says the Lord, just as a shepherd, here it is again, snatching a lamb from a wolf's or a lion's mouth. Just as a shepherd snatches, that's the word natzal, natzals from the lion's mouth a couple of legs or a piece of an ear, so will the sons of Israel dwelling in Samaria be natzaled away, snatched away.
Otra vez jalado, arrebatado.
Are you starting to get a mental picture of this?
Yes.
Like a bunch of people, Israel, being pulled away, snatched away, plucked out.
Rescatados, arrebatados de
How
una
was it
situación mala.
translated?
Say it again.
Correct.
Plundered.
Plundered?
Wait, oh, it was, that's
It's
right.
consistently translated.
2 Chronicles 20. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. 2 Chronicles 20.
Segundo Crónicas 20.
Verse 25. When Jehoshaphat and his people came to take their spoil, they found much among them, including goods, garments, valuable things, which they took for themselves, more than they could carry. And there were 3 days taking the spoil because there was so much. This
Esto
is despoiling.
despoiling.
And this is the word natzal.
Está usando la palabra natzal.
This is
Incorrectamente.
actually despoiling.
Natzal está correcto. La
And that's what
palabra
Jehoshaphat and the
natzal
Jews
está
did with Edom. And they despoiled them. They took all their plunder, their stuff. And it's the word natzal. So this means to take away or to strip off. All right? It says snatch out of danger. Ezekiel 14:14.
Arrebatar de peligro. Ezequiel 14:14.
Even though these 3 men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in its midst, by their own righteousness, they could only natzal themselves. They could only pluck out, snatch out, deliver themselves. In other words, the whole nation is going to be destroyed. Even if these 3 righteous men prayed for it, they can only save themselves, not the nation. To pull apart, to pull away, 2 Samuel 14:6. This is a story, I'm just going to tell you what the story is. This is a story that somebody's telling, and they say there were 2 people struggling in the field, and one came, the other came, and they were fighting and wrestling, and there was nobody to pull them apart. And it's the word natzal. There was nobody to snatch them away from each other. Cannot be despoiled. All right, Deuteronomy 23. This is to save oneself or to escape. Deuteronomy 23:16. And he shall live with you in your midst, in the place which he shall choose, in one of your towns where it pleases him. You shall not mistreat him. Well, sorry, verse 15. It's verse 15. You shall not hand over to his master a slave who has natzal, who has been escaped, plucked out, delivered. So it's a runaway slave.
Yeah.
And the runaway slave is described as being natzal, plucked out, delivered. And you're not supposed to turn him back over to the slave. You shall not hand over his master a slave who has escaped from his master to you.
That's cool.
Isn't that? By the way, that's in the book of, in the New Testament, the book of Philemon. It's all about this one verse. This one verse we just read. Okay. Proverbs chapter 6. Proverbs 6:3.
Or 2.
Or 2. Yeah. Proverbs 6:2. If you've been snared with the words of your mouth and have been caught with the words of your mouth, do this, my son, and natzal yourself. Pluck yourself out of the problem. Deliver yourself. You can't plunder yourself.
Wow.
No te puedes.
So obviously it doesn't mean plunder.
No es plunder.
And then the last one, Exodus 33:6. Exodus 33:6.
Exodus.
So the sons of Israel stripped themselves of their ornaments from Mount Horeb onward. They natzaled themselves of their ornaments. So what does it mean here? What does natzal mean here?
Yeah.
To strip off of oneself. So we've seen to snatch out or deliver, to be plucked out, to take away or strip off, to snatch out of danger, to pull apart or pull away, to save oneself, to escape, to strip oneself something off of you. There is no way it can be plundered.
And not really in that context.
I mean, there's just 0% possibility that it could mean plundered. Now listen to what I'm saying. When the Jews went out of Egypt, before they left, they asked
pidieron los
Egyptians
egipcios
articles of gold, articles of
artículos de
silver,
oro,
and
plata
clothing.
y ropa.
What did they do with that
¿Qué
stuff?
hicieron con
For the
estas cosas?
Mishkan.
They used it to make.
Yeah, but what did they do with it right then and there? Do you know?
They put it on
They
Put
wore
it on?
They wore it
Who did they put it on?
themselves.
themselves, no?
No. Okay, so we're going to look at this.
Put it on.
Next slide.
Entonces, ¿qué hicieron con esta ropa?
All right, so let's look at this verse again. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moshe. And they asked of the Egyptians jewels of silver, jewels of gold, and clothing. And Adonai gave the people grace, chen, in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they, the Egyptians, gave them, Israel, what they asked for. And they what?
The natzal,
They what?
Natzal.
the spoil.
And then that's all.
No, not despoiled. They what?
That's all. They
What is,
rescued
what's the
them.
word? How would we translate it?
They rescued
Rescued,
the Mitzrayim, the
Ransom.
Egyptians,
ransomed, saved,
delivered.
delivered, plucked out of danger, the Egyptians. Israel saved the Egyptians by asking them for gold and silver.
They collected a tithe.
Well,
Or an offering at
A lot more than a
least.
tithe.
Kind of, sort of. Yeah, a lot more, but you know.
okay, now this is the Hertz Chumash. It's the Hertz was a great rabbi, and he did a Chumash. It's a Bible commentary. It's got the Torah and then his commentary on the Torah. Now, when you're reading this verse 12, 36, 35, 36, he says, see my note on Exodus 3:3 or 3:2. So I went back to Exodus 3:2, and this is what it says. It says, in Exodus 3:2, it says this. Sorry, 3:22, not 3:2, 3:22. But every woman shall ask of her neighbor and of her that sojourns in her house jewels of silver and jewels of gold and garments, and you shall put them on your children. You shall put them on your children and on your sons and your daughters, your children. And thus, and it says it here again, you shall not natzal the Egyptians. 2 verses say, you shall save, you shall pluck out the Egyptians. Israel saved Egypt by taking the gold and silver and garments and putting them where?
On the kids.
On the kids.
Where?
The Jewish kids.
On the kids.
Yeah, Hebrew kids.
The Jewish kids.
Ben Yisrael.
Yes. Now, the generation that came out of Egypt, were they good or bad?
La generación que salió de Egipto es buena o mala.
Yes. Okay, the rabbis say that they were not redeemed. They were an evil generation. We know that from Hebrews chapter 3 and 4 that says that generation had no faith. They did not see my day. They did not see my day. And so they had no faith, and they were not redeemed.
Right.
But their children,
Ah,
were the ones who went into the land of Israel. So that's why the stuff was put on the children of the Jews. Because they were going to be the ones that were saved. Does that make sense? And then later on, they stripped off the gold and silver and garments from the kids, and what did they do with it?
They use it for the Mishkan.
Right, they use it to build God's dwelling place. So the kids had God's dwelling place on them.
Right.
Had the stuff that made God's dwelling place.
Cool.
They were like little walking
Temples.
mishkans, tabernacles. And God was living inside you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what about the Egyptians? How did this save the Egyptians? Well, the Hertz Chumash,
Well, it brought them out of the Egyptians.
this is what Hertz says.
Hertz Chumash dice,
Therefore, they are bidden to put these gifts and ornaments upon their children, who will ask concerning that great day when the Lord saved Israel. Listen to that. They will
That great
ask
day.
concerning that great day when the Lord saved Israel. When is that great day?
Coming, the seventh day.
The day of the Lord. When God will save Israel.
Bayom Hahu.
by Yom Hahu,
Right.
right?
By Yom Pahu.
Then it says, this rendering of despoil the Egyptians should be replaced by, you shall save the Egyptians.
Entonces vas a salvar los egipcios, no que los salvaste a los egipcios.
Spoil the Egyptians is incorrect. No, it's impossible.
Es imposible.
Rendering of the Hebrew text. The root natzal. Listen to this. We only went through how many verses? Like
A dozen?
15? A dozen? Listen to this. The root natzal, which is here translated spoil, despoil, or strip, occurs 212 times in the Torah. 212 times. Guess how many times it means to pluck out of danger? 210.
Yeah, almost all of it.
210. Only 2 are questionable as, and I read one of them, Second Chronicles, where it said that they went and they took all the stuff from the bad guys, and that could be translated to spoil. It could.
Right.
But 210 times, it means to pluck out of danger. 210 instances, its meaning is admitted by all to be to snatch from danger, to rescue, to recover. Its direct object is never the person or thing from whom the saving or rescuing or snatching is taking place.
Entiendo. Es muy claro como lo en hebreo.
The words "V'natzletam et Mitzrayim" can only be translated, "and you shall save the Egyptians." Now remember, I'm teaching this because most of you are most of the people listening to this are Gentiles.
Right.
And on Passover, God did not save the Jews. He saved the Jews and the Gentiles together. But He saved the Gentiles through whom?
The Jews.
The Jews.
If it wasn't for the Jews, they wouldn't have been saved.
That's right. And that's why God says about Yeshua, Yeshua said, salvation is from the Jews.
And it was that.
It's always been like that. The Gentiles have to get saved through the Jews. Now, we get saved through Yeshua. But only because He's a Jew. And He was the Son of God in the form of a Jew.
Right.
And He did Judaism. He spoke Judaism. He was Judaism in the flesh. That's what saves people. So salvation is through the Jews. Pretty simple. Always has been, always will be. And this picture is exactly the same. Now he says, bitter memories and associations would have clung to the word Egyptians had the Egyptians not given all their stuff. They gave gold, silver, and garments, and forever we'd be like, Egyptians, if they had not done this. And so the memory of Egypt was turned from bitter to sweet. And so it saved the pride, the image of the Egyptians in the eyes of the Jews. Does that make sense? It's not like in the movies. Not like in the movies where they're all leaving Egypt and like, we have freedoms. You know, they're so mad at you. And there's the Egyptians and they're terrified. That didn't happen. It didn't happen. They're going out, it says, with a high hand. They left Egypt with a high hand. That means we're fine. We are fine. And when the Pharaoh and the Egyptian army showed up on the, behind them, it doesn't say they panicked. Does it?
No.
It says, Moses said, don't be afraid, stand back and watch the salvation of God. And part of the sea. That's all it says. So I believe that their mind had been changed. And their memory of Israel had been changed. It was a friendly party. And then he says, this would enable them to carry out the command or the word to be given to them 40 years later. You shall not hate an Egyptian. That's in Deuteronomy 23:8. It says, you shall not hate an Egyptian in your heart. Well, that new generation didn't hate the Egyptians.
Right.
They remember wearing the gold and silver and garments. That makes sense? And thus they saved the Egyptians. It says a whole lot more. It talks about all the different arguments that people gave and why it's translated despoil. Because everybody was like, well, we were slaves for 400 years and they were just paying us what was due to us. Not true. Not true at all.
que eran el pago.
They
fue pago.
they weren't given gold and silver
Fueron pagados.
and garments for themselves. They were given gold and silver and garments for what purpose?
For the temple.
For the tabernacle. To build the tabernacle. It wasn't money that was owed them. It was to build God a house. Yes.
But that's the stuff that came from the Egyptians themselves. But they did go up north to Baal Saphon and, I don't want to use the word plunder. They took their pay from Baal Saphon at that point. So there's two different financial exchanges. Or wealth exchange. That makes sense to me.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right. Next slide. So there's the
Ahí
Mishkan
está el Mishkan.
with its 4 coverings, made out of the gold and silver. Remember what the bases are made out of? So how much silver?
1 talent.
1 talent per base. Remember how to say base in Hebrew?
Adon.
Good. Adon. Lord. It also means high and it means low at the same
Habla
time.
alto y bajo a la misma
So
vez.
there's bases and the gold covered
Está los pilares,
boards,
los
and then the linen,
cubridos con oro.
and then
Está
the ohel, mikse, and the
linen,
tachash.
el ojel, el
covered.
mashke
So
y el tachash.
this was made from the stuff that
Hecho
Egypt
de
gave.
lo que
And this
recogieron
helped
de
to redeem
esto
Egypt.
ayudó a salvar
Next slide.
a-
Gold, silver, and garments were given by Egypt and were put on the children. Yes?
todo esto
Yeah.
se-
So the
fue
children are little
a los
Mishkanot.
hijos. Todos
There were
los
little
fueron
pictures of the Mishkan. And this is why
todos
God
los
says in
hijos en oro
Exodus,
y-
well, it says in Exodus 3:22 that it was used to make Mishkan. Next slide. This is why it says in Exodus 25:8, Va'asu li mikdash v'shachanti betocha. Build for me a house that I may dwell where?
And then,
In them. In them. Here's the garments that they got from Egypt. They put the garments on themselves, on the children. So the children are little mishkanot, and God is living inside of them. That's why God says, this thing, build it so that God could dwell where?
in it.
No, not in it.
In them.
Where?
In them.
In them. In them, not in it.
Bechotam.
Yeah.
Bechotam.
Right.
In them.
Va'asu li mikdash v'shachanti betochem. In their insides. Betochem. On their insides. Build this big giant thing so that God could dwell inside people, not inside a house.
No en una casa.
So that's why the Jews, the kid Jews, the little kids, were little pictures of Mishkanot walking around. Isn't that beautiful?
Sí.
And that saved who?
That's awesome.
Egyptians.
Eso es lo que salvó a los
The enemy, the heathen, the filth.
Pagan.
Their scripture
Pagans.
says the
Say
wealth of
again?
the wicked is stored up for the righteous. The wealth of the wicked is stored up for the...
That's a different concept.
Okay.
All right, next slide. All right, by getting the treasures from Egypt, they saved these heathen.
Salvaron a estos
By getting the treasures from Egypt, they saved these heathen. We're the heathen.
Nosotros somos los
We're the heathen, in which God dwells because we were
Dios vive.
saved.
Dios nos
So God dwells in us because
Dios
we're
vive.
saved, yes?
Salvados,
Same picture.
rescatados.
God saved the Egyptians by them giving all this stuff to Israel. They built the Mishkan so God could dwell inside of Israel. And that saved the heathen. What's the same picture? We are heathen
En Israel.
and God dwells in us
Somos,
because of
ah,
Yeshua.
sentidos
Who died
nosotros por medio
when?
de Yeshua, que murió.
Why?
On Pesach.
Who died when? When did Yeshua die?
Pesach.
Pesach.
Pesach, yesterday.
Yeah.
Sí.
Yesterday.
Yeshua
At 3 o'clock in the
murió
afternoon, yesterday.
Pesach, sí. But not
So-
yesterday, Friday.
Well, yesterday, Wednesday.
Yesterday.
But not yesterday, Friday. Yesterday, Nissan 14th.
Yesterday, Nissan 14,
That's
yesterday
right. Yesterday.
is when Yeshua died. Let me say that again, that got lost. We are the heathen
Nosotros somos
that God
los
saved through
sentidos
Yeshua
por medio de
on the
Yeshua.
same day that the
El mismo
Egyptians
día
were
que
saved.
los egipcios
When
fueron
were the
salvados.
Egyptians saved?
Nissan
Nissan
14.
Nissan 14, when they went out of Egypt.
Okay. But not
Right?
Friday.
Right?
But not Friday.
Well, it's the same day that Yeshua saved everybody.
Right.
So in Revelation 5:9 it says, and they sang a new song, saying, "Worthy are you to take the book and break the seals, for you were killed and purchased for God with your blood people from every tribe, every tongue, and people and nation." Is that not heathen?
Pretty much, yeah. Everybody.
Isn't that the heathen?
Everybody but.
It's everybody.
But
It's the
Israel.
heathen. The only people who aren't heathen
Or Israel.
are Israel. But in the day of the Lord, there's going to be, the body of Messiah will be seen to be heathen. Egypt and Israel together. One new man.
Mixed multitude.
Mixed multitude. That is the mixed multitude, by the way. That's
Yeah.
correct.
Mixed multitude.
And so the mixed multitude went with Israel out of
Todos
Egypt.
salieron de
And we're saved.
Y somos salvos.
All right, thank you. They saved these heathen on Pesach. Yeshua saved us heathen on Pesach. John 1:29 and 36. John sees Yeshua coming and he says, "Behold the what?
The
The what? The Lamb of God." That's a weird statement. Now everybody knows it. We think it's normal. It's not normal. The Lamb of God. The Lamb of God. A lamb belonging to God. A lamb that is God. Lamb of God. That's weird. That was not a statement the Jews said.
No.
The Lamb of God. And he says it twice, 2 days in a row. He sees Yeshua and he says, "Behold, the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world." Because he's the Lamb. When does he die as the Lamb? Pesach. 1 Corinthians 5:7. Here's the next part. Hold on. When they went out of Egypt, they were saved on Passover. They went out that night, which became Hag HaMatzah. Yes? Became Hag HaMatzah, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So Passover is always two things. It's lamb and matzah, always. 1 Corinthians 5:7. Clean out the old leaven so that you may be a new lump, just as you are matzah. You are matzah. You are matzah.
Ooh, that's
Right.
cool. He's the
For-
lamb, we're the matzah.
Yes,
Ooh,
for
that's
Messiah, our Pesach,
That's right,
Wow.
that's right.
also
That's
has
cool.
been sacrificed.
That's right.
So Yeshua's the lamb,
Yeshua es el cordero.
we're the
nosotros somos
matzah,
la
because Yeshua's the matzah. And we're him.
That's a
We got the clothing of the Mishkan on us, which is Yeshua.
Yeshua.
So God dwells inside of us
Dios vive adentro.
because we have the Mishkan clothing us. The gold, the silver, the garments, which are pictures of heavenly things, clothing us. We're the heathen. We are the matzah. Next slide. Close your eyes and picture this. There's a whole bunch of people, and they are snatched away. They're pulled away. They are taken away. They're plucked away. And they're saved from death. Look at me. If people are standing and they're plucked, snatched away, which direction can they go? They can only go up. There's an event that could be called natzal. The natzal.
Yeah.
Amen.
The snatching away, the taking away, the plucking away, the saving from death. Well, what was the church called?
Yeah, they call it.
Yeah, whatever they call it.
They're wrong.
It's all right. It's all right. We know it to be a resurrection,
It's the natzal.
but it's never been called Hanatzal, ever. Ever. There's no Jewish literature anywhere that calls it the Natzal.
Really?
Never.
What's
Ever.
it, what do they call it?
Resurrection.
Okay.
It's called the resurrection.
No, but in the Jewish literature? that's
In
what
the
they
Jewish
call it?
literature, it's
Okay.
called the resurrection. It's called Mechaya Hamatim, the living of the dead. Is what
So
that
they don't
is.
even use the word natzal in the Hebrew.
Nope.
There's
Not
another-
for what the church calls the rapture.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Because
It
that's
was-
the concept.
It was hidden. It was hidden from Israel. The resurrection what the church calls the rapture was hidden from Israel. They know nothing about it. They don't write about it, speak about it, it means nothing to them. Now in Luke 17:30 and then 34 through 36, it's a description, one description of the of what I'm going to call the natzal.
Lo que yo voy a decirle el natzal, el hanatzal.
You don't have to call it hanatzal, but I'm going to call it the
Yo le voy a
natzal.
usar hanatzal.
17:30.
17:30 de Lucas.
It will be just the same on that day, in that day, in that day. I'm going to go back to verse 30. It will be just the same in that day that the Son of Man is revealed. In that day, let not the one who is on the housetop and whose goods are in the house go down and take them away. Likewise, let not the one who is in the field turn back. Remember Lot's wife. Whoever seeks and keeps his life will lose it. Verse 34, I tell you, on that night there will be two men in one bed. One will be taken and the other will be left. There will be two women grinding at the same place. Why would they be grinding at night? When does it say this takes place?
Oh, yeah, at night. It's at a Pesach.
Well,
It's actually, it's
a
the,
night.
yeah, it's the
a
first
night.
night of Pesach.
It's the cool of the evening.
It's a night. Lila. Now,
Why work in the sun?
hold on.
Wow.
We know from many, many verses, I'm not going to talk about it much right now, but we know that the resurrection takes place at midnight.
Right.
In the middle of the night, at midnight. Many verses about it. That's why it has this event taking place at night. Women don't grind at night.
No. They sleep.
It's a parable. It's a parable. It's putting you in the setting of nighttime when one is there and the other one is natzal, plucked out. There will be two women grinding at the same place. One will be taken and the other will be left. Two men will be in the field. One will be taken, natzal, and the other will be left. All right.
What are they doing in the field?
Next slide. 1 Corinthians 15. The whole chapter is about the resurrection. Yes, it's about the resurrection. Verse 13. If there's no resurrection of the dead, not even Messiah has been resurrected. If Messiah hasn't been raised, then our preaching is in vain, our faith is in vain. Verse 16. If the dead are not raised, not even Messiah has been raised. And if Messiah has not been raised, your faith is worthless. You're still in your sin. Then those who have fallen asleep in Yeshua, in Messiah Yeshua. Asleep is death. Waking up is the resurrection. Those who have fallen asleep in Messiah have perished. If we've hoped in Messiah in this life only, we should just be, people should feel sorry for us. But now Messiah has been raised from the dead, the first fruits of those who are, what? Listen, you're not listening. For Messiah has been raised from the dead, the first fruits of those who are, what? Huh? Say it loud.
Asleep.
Asleep. Asleep.
Dirt napping.
Asleep. Yeah, dirt napping. Yeah. For since by a man came death, by a man came resurrection of the dead. Adam killed everybody. Messiah makes everybody alive. All right. And then 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. Well, no. I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to all the way down to 42. So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown a perishable body, it's raised an imperishable body. It is sown in dishonor, it is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. It is sown a natural body, it's raised a spiritual body. If there's a natural, there's also a spiritual. Adam killed everybody, Messiah makes everybody come to life. I'm going to say this phrase again.
Yeah.
Mechaya hametim.
Mechaya
Mechaya hametim, which means making alive the dead. Lechaya Hamatim.
Haciendo vivo lo que está muerto.
Yeah.
All right, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4.
Net es muerto. Hamatim.
1 Thessalonians chapter 4,
The next is
verse 13.
4:13.
We don't want you to be uninformed, brothers, about those who are asleep. If they're asleep, what are
Si
they?
están dormidos,
Yeah.
es que están
What
muertos.
we
Yeah.
call dead.
That you may not grieve as those who don't have any hope. For if we believe that Yeshua died and rose, so God will bring with him those who have fallen asleep. Then, in other words, they're going to rise. For this we say to you by the word of the Lord, that we who are alive and remain until the coming of the Lord will not go before those who have fallen asleep. Who resurrects first?
The ones that are already dead.
Those who are asleep, the dead. And then, after that, the living. For the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a shout. What is the shout?
Shofar.
So far.
No. What's the shout? The words.
Charua.
Oh,
What's the words?
it's the, I forget.
Wake up!
Yeah.
That's the words.
Rise.
That's the words, not arise. Wake up!
And isn't
What
it
is it?
Why? Everybody is
asleep?
asleep. So,
La palabra
what is it in Hebrew? Is that what you're saying?
Despertar.
Kumi!
Kumi.
Kumi!
Isn't it the angels?
Or kum.
And the angels are the ones that say that, right?
Yeah, and it's not an archangel, by the way. There's no such thing. It's just an angel.
Ángel, un ángel es lo que es.
For the Lord himself will descend from heaven with Kum! Wake up, get up! With the voice of the angel, with the shofar of God, and the dead Messiah will rise first. Then we who are alive and remain shall be natzal,
Right.
snatched up, plucked up,
Right.
saved, delivered, pulled out,
Salvados.
together with it. Now, in Latin, it's the word raptier,
Right.
which is where they got
Where they get
rapture
rapture.
from. But in Hebrew, what would it be?
Natzal.
Natzal.
En hebreo es natzal.
That's what the groom does when he's transferring his bride.
Yeah, that's what the groom does when he comes for his bride.
bride.
So, that is the natzal.
Yeah.
It's not, there's no rapture, it's resurrection. Now here's the problem. When did this happen for Israel and for Egypt? When did it happen for Egypt?
Pesach.
When? Pesach. That's not when the resurrection happened.
La resurrección no ocurre
Next
en
slide.
ese mismo día.
When does the resurrection happen?
En Tishri.
What day does the resurrection happen?
Oh, Pesach.
No, Tishri 1.
To what?
All right, so here's our three
Rosh
clues.
Hashanah.
Here's our three clues.
Oh, yeah, it's Rosh Hashanah.
Yom
What am I thinking?
Teruah, sorry,
Never mind.
last trump. Remember it says, at the last trump, the dead will rise, yes?
Yeah.
Well, last trump is an idiom in Hebrew for Rosh Hashanah. It is a title for Rosh Hashanah, not for Passover.
Right, my bad.
Resurrection is taught on Rosh Hashanah every year. And the reason it's taught every year is because when that shofar is blown, the day itself and the sound that comes from the shofar is teruah, Yom Teruah. Teruah means awakening blast, awakening blast. From sleep, you wake up, awakening blast. So that's why it's taught on Rosh Hashanah. Because in the Bible it's called Day of the Awakening Blast. Make sense?
Yes.
So, the resurrection will occur on what festival?
Yom
Rosh
Teruah.
Hashanah,
Yeah.
not Passover. Now, there was a big debate in the first century. One house of the rabbis said the resurrection will take place on Passover. One said it will take place on Rosh Hashanah. And they would debate this often. It was a big debate. They never did solve the riddle.
Really?
Yeah. That's why the word natzal is not in any of the Jewish literature. Because it stayed a mystery to them. They never solved it.
They never
They
connected
think
the
it's
two.
Pesach because the Lord resurrected on Pesach.
They don't believe in Yeshua. They believe it, most of them believe it's Pesach because of what we just looked at.
Right.
And I will natzal the Egyptians, and the Jews will go out and be saved on Pesach. So this is the day of our freedom, yes?
Yeah.
Passover?
Yes.
But it's only a rehearsal
Right.
for 7 months later at Rosh Hashanah. So why did God create the natzal, the chayei hamitim,
hizo la
On
resurrección en la Pascua.
even though it's going to occur on Rosh Hashanah,
En Rosh Hashanah.
because it's a rehearsal
Right.
for 7 months
right.
later.
Es para seis.
Listen to me carefully. It's a
Para 6
rehearsal
meses.
for 7 months later. So it must be that God rotated the
Yeah,
calendar
right.
to make that 7 become 1 and the 1 become 7. Other way around. Make that 1 become 7 and the 7 become 1.
But it's still,
Well,
you
that
said
would
it
be
right
six.
the first time because it was 7. Right now would have been 7
Let me say
at
it
one
again.
time.
Let me say it again.
No,
I
no,
just
no.
want you to picture it. He made that 1 7 and the 7
1.
rotated to 1. That must be. It must be.
Tiene que
First
ser
shall be
ahora
last,
son-
and the last shall be first.
The first shall be last and the last shall be first. Next slide.
What is that Roman word for
Here it-
rapture?
Latin.
Latin is raptiere.
The rapture?
Raptiere. Raptiere. All right, so why did God create the natzal on Pesach? Even though it will occur on Rosh Hashanah, here's why. There's 2 calendars. One became 7 and 7 became 1. And guess when it happened?
6 months apart.
In the Torah portion today.
That's right, Exodus
Yeah.
12:2.
Exodus 12. Go to Exodus 12. It
Exodus
happened
12.
in this Torah portion on Passover month. Exodus 12. He rotated the calendar.
Volteó
Verse
el
1.
calendario en
Now the
este
Lord
mes
said to
antes de
Moshe
la
and
Pascua.
Aharon in the land of Egypt, this month
Este mes
shall be
será
the
el
Rosh
principio de los
Chodesh
meses, de los
for you.
meses.
Actually, it doesn't say that in Hebrew. It says Ze Chodesh, Ze Rosh Chodesh Lata. Lachem, I think it is, for you plural. This moon
Esta
shall
luna
be the new moon for
va a ser
you.
para la nueva luna
In other words, he's
para
showing it to
ustedes.
us.
Right.
This moon, yeah, sorry. This moon shall be the new moon for you. Now you could say this month shall be the first month for you.
Luna llena esta.
Previously it was not. Previously,
Anteriormente,
Nisan,
Nisan era
on the
el
pre-Exodus
séptimo
calendar, what number
mes
is
de
it?
Éxodo.
Yeah.
What number is it?
7.
On the pre-Exodus calendar.
7.
No, on the pre-Exodus calendar. 7.
It's 7, yeah.
And so he rotated the calendar
Volteó
so
el
that
calendario.
1 became 7 and
Después
7
siete
became
fue
1.
Fue 1.
So after Exodus 12,
Después de Éxodo 12.
we're working from the outside
estamos en
calendar,
El calendario de afuera.
what they call the religious calendar.
El calendario
But
religioso.
before Exodus
Pero
12,
antes de Éxodo
the whole
12,
Bible is
toda
written
la Biblia está basada
on
en el
the
calendario,
civil calendar.
el calendario
Right.
civil.
Anything you read
Todo
before
lo que
Exodus
lees
12,
antes de Éxodo
if
12,
it says the third month,
tienes que
it's
entender
not
este calendario
Sivan,
antes de
what is it? What month is it?
It's going to be Kislev.
What month is it? If it's the third month before Exodus 12,
Kislev.
look on the calendars. Say it loud.
Kislev.
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 So if you're reading in the Bible before Exodus 12, and it says it was the second month,
O si dice segundo mes.
what month is that?
Cheshvan.
Heshvan. It's fall.
Cheshvan.
It's fall.
Say Cheshvan.
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 Eso está hablando de
All right. If it says it's the 7th month before Exodus 12, what month is that?
Tishri.
Nope. What month is
Before
that?
Exodus
Nisan.
12.
Before Exodus 12.
Nisan.
Say it. Nisan. After Exodus 12, he says, from now on, this month, Nisan is the first month
Este
of the
mes
year.
es el primero de Nisan.
He rotated the calendar. So now we have 2
Ahora
calendars.
tenemos dos
Michael,
calendarios.
when I was reading some information on this, it says that it was
Estaba leyendo estas cosas.
the beginning of the year.
Estoy empezando que es el mejor del año.
Yes,
That's what I just said.
But the Guillermo's, remember that we were talking about?
Mary, I just said this. There's 2 calendars.
Hay dos calendarios.
2 first
dos
months.
calendarios
2
judíos.
7 months.
Todo está
So
complicado en el
previously,
Anteriormente,
at the beginning of the world,
al principio del mundo,
Tishri
Tishri
was what number? What number?
Uno.
1. the beginning of the year.
El principio de
After Exodus
Después
12,
de Éxodo
it's what number?
es 7.
7. So
Pero
there's
es
2
una,
New
pero
Years.
es 7. Pero es uno.
There's 2 New Years. Rosh Hashanah is the 7th month. Previously, it was the 1st.
Right.
Does that make sense? Mary, does that clear that up? Okay, good. So that's why the natzal took place
Tiene que ocurrir
when?
en
When?
Nisan.
At Pesach. What number month?
One.
1.
1 and 7.
Because,
They're both going to happen in number 1.
right, they're both going to happen in month number 1.
That's right.
The one in the day of the Lord
Right.
is going to happen at Rosh Hashanah, which is what number month?
It's 7.
7 and 1.
or
1.
1. There's 2 first months.
2 7s, 2 1s.
So that's why the natzal took place at Passover.
Right.
And he saved the
Por eso eso
Gentiles.
sucedió en la Pascua
And then he saved
para
the Jews.
el ensayo de los
Isn't that a trip?
Grosa
And in the day of the Lord, it's going to be reversed.
6 and a
He's
half
going to
months
save the
apart.
Jews, and then he's going to save the
Entonces, en el
Gentiles.
futuro va a salvar a los judíos primero.
Does that make sense?
Todo al revés.
So they're like just
Next slide.
Lo opuesto.
exactly 6.5 months apart, right?
Exactly 7 months apart
7?
to the day.
Exactamente 7
The
meses.
natzal, or the resurrection,
Resurrección.
is the signal
Es
for the day of the Lord to begin.
señal para que
What
empiece el
number
día del Señor.
Day is the day of the Lord. 7.
Seven.
It's the 7th day.
7.
And it's
It's the beginning
God's
of the,
day, the
the
beginning
beginning of the
of-
millennium.
the beginning of the kingdom, right? So that's why the natzal took place at Passover.
The day that is all Shabbat.
The day that is all Shabbat, right? Now, I know that was a lot,
Sé que fue mucho eso.
and I hope you can remember it,
Lo puedes recordar.
because it's important that you look at the words and what they mean
Tenemos que ver las palabras
in order to
exactas
understand what God is
para entender
communicating.
los conceptos.
Or else you can't, it's not
No
simple.
es no es fácil.
Nothing
decir,
is simple.
Si no lo haces
And in order, when we do some of this little miniature Sederlet,
Seder.
miniature Seder, we're only going to do a few things. And when we do it, you need to pay attention to the words, because the words form the picture that we want to see. So let's pray. Father, thank you for redeeming both Jews and Gentiles together. Thank you that Yeshua died as our Pesach, so we can be matzah. Thank you that he was the matzah, so we can be matzah. Thank you, Abba, that you are pouring out your spirit on your body to understand Pesach and to understand the resurrection as well and the day of the Lord. And we look forward to our natzal, our being plucked out and saved from the world to be taken to your kingdom. Show us your kingdom, Lord, in the name of Yeshua. Amen. We are going to set up that